Humanities Art, Part 9, Danny Elfman. Daniel Robert Elfman is an American composer, singer, songwriter, and record producer. Elfman first became known for being the lead singer and songwriter for the band Oingo Boingo from 1974 to 1995. He is well known for scoring films and television shows, particularly his frequent collaborations with director Tim Burton. One of Elfman's notable compositions is The Simpsons theme, which he wrote in 1989. Elfman was born on May 29, 1953 in Los Angeles, California, to a Jewish family from Poland and Russia. He is the son of Blossom Elfman, a writer and teacher, and Milton Elfman, a teacher who was in the Air Force. He was raised in a racially mixed, affluent community in Baldwin Hills, California. He spent much of his time in the neighborhood's local movie theater, adoring the music of such film composers as Bernard Herrmann and Franz Waxman, stating that he hung out with the band geeks, in which he started Aska Band. Dropping out of high school, he follows his brother Richard to France, where he performed with Le Grand Magic Circus, an avant-garde musical theater group. In 1972, Richard Elfman founded the American New Wave band Performance Art Group, originally called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo. They played shows throughout the 1970s until Richard Elfman left the band to become a filmmaker. Richard created the film Forbidden Zone, and Danny Elfman composed his first score for the film and played the role of Satan. When the film was completed, the Oingo Boingo began recording, touring as a rock group. Danny Elfman led the group from 1976 until 1995, when they suddenly retired. The group changed semi into a theatrical and comedy troupe using ska-influenced new wave band in 1979, which was a more guitar-oriented rock sound in the late 1980s. It was still led by Danny Elfman. On October 31st, 2015, Danny and Oingo Boingo guitarist Steve Bartek reunited to perform the song Dead Man's Party for the first time in 20 years at a Halloween celebration at the Hollywood Bowl. In 1985, Tim Burton and Paul Rubens invited Elfman to write the score for their first feature film, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Elfman was apprehensive at first because of his lack of formal training, but with assistance from guitarist Steve Bartek, he achieved his goal. He was able to emulate the mood of such composers as Nino Rota and Bernard Herrmann. Elfman described the first time he heard his music played by a full orchestra as one of the most thrilling experiences of his life. Elfman also provided the singing voice for Jack Skellington in Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, and the voices of both Beryl and the clown without the tearaway face. In 1990, Elfman composed the iconic orchestra piece Ice Dance for the Tim Burton film Edward Scissorhands. Years later, he provided the voice for Boone Jingles, the skeleton in Corpse Bride, and the voices of the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He also composed the 2002 soundtrack for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. He composed the film score for Oz, the Great and Powerful, and additional music for Avengers: Age of Ultron, together with Brian Tyler. Elfman composed the score for all three of the 50 Shades films, 2015 to 2018. He won 4 Oscar nominations for The Batman, which was a Grammy, an Emmy for Desperate Housewives, and the 2002 Richard Kirk Award, and the Disney Legend Award. As a teenager, Elfman dated his classmate Kim Gordon, who would later become one of the members of the rock band Sonic Youth. He has 2 daughters, Lola, 1979, and Molly, 1984, from his marriage to Garrett Eisenmenger. Molly is a film producer and actress. Elfman and his daughter collaborated on her 2011 film Do Not Disturb. On November 29, 2003, Elfman married actress Bridget Fonda. They have a son, Oliver. In 1998, Elfman scored A Simple Plan, starring Fonda. Elfman has been an atheist since the age of 11 or 12. According to him, he is a cynicologist. I'm not a doomist. My attitude is always to be critical of what's around you, but never to forget how lucky we are. I've traveled around the world. I left thinking I was a revolutionary and that I knew everything. I came back real right-wing patriotic. Since then, I've kind of mellowed in between. On July 25, 2019, the New York Times Magazine listed Danny Elfman among hundreds of artists whose material was reportedly destroyed in the 2008 Universal fire. Elfman composed Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Alice in Wonderland, Batman, Big Fish, Beetlejuice, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, Corpse Bride, Batman Returns, Sleepy Hollow, Justice League, Men in Black, Frankenweenie, Good Will Hunting, The Dark Shadows, Planet of the Apes, Mars Attacks, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, Dumbo, Mission Impossible, Wanted, Darkman, Dr. Seuss the Grinch, Scrooged, Charlotte's Web, Real Steel, Big Top Pee-wee, and much more. Danny Elfman's soundtrack and score was so important to the dynamic of so many films, such as The Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, Batman, and even The Simpsons. He knew how to create great themes of music, and every soundtrack he makes, you just fall in love. It is a place you can escape, and music that he creates in instruments that is far beyond just music. He created a very well blend of understanding what's in that vision that you are watching. And not only that, but every time you hit that chime or hear that chime or hear the drums or hear that guitar solo in the background, you know that Danny Elfman composed this score. And whenever you do, you know it's going to be great. The fitting is perfect, and every time you put on the headphones or every time you go to a theater and you watch a film and Danny Elfman's music explodes all around you, you know very well that this person inspired many artists in orchestra, instruments, cellos, guitarists, violinists, and so on in becoming more than what they can be, in becoming more by playing orchestra music and showcasing it in front of the world and showing us that music is more important than just the picture. The music brings the picture to life, and that is important. And Danny Elfman taught us and taught the world that music composed right can be very critical to anything you do or see. And that is why Danny Elfman is part of Humanities Art. Elfman is an excellent and awesome composer, and I just think, to be honest with you, that I never was a big, huge fan of orchestra music until Danny Elfman. Until I fell in love with making films, and I fell in love with making short films, because I felt short films was just a fun way to do it, films quickly and put it out. So when I got into making films or even watching movies, and I heard the themes of the music in the background of these movies, found out that Danny Elfman composed them, and then I started researching it, and I started finding out that Danny Elfman had an entire orchestra of people that made the music. That's when it finally hit me that, wow, every single person in that orchestra plays an important key factor in the entire score. Every single person, from the violinist to the drums to the cello to the vocalist, every little instrument that one person does is important to the next, and so on and so on. And that just, to me, is just a tremendous way of really setting the bar for creating great cinematic films to me. And Danny Elfman has done that. And I just think it's awesome that you can do orchestra with almost anything: video games, audiobooks, films, museums, and every orchestra has a different blend. Some have jazz, some have rock, some have rap in them. It's all blended with these instruments together. It's one entire group of individuals that form one cohesive orchestra, and that creates that score for the film that you're watching. And to me, that's just amazing, because orchestras have been there from the very beginning, before pictures were even had sound. You know, orchestra was actually the next foundation. It's like, hey, we need music in our films, so, you know, getting orchestra people that knew instruments and all that, putting it together to create something fantastic was the way to go. And Danny Elfman just amped it up and just really did a great job of really impacting it. And even till this day, when I watch a film like Beetlejuice, for example, my gosh, as soon as that movie starts, and you hear that Tim Burton, Danny Elfman theme music, you know this is it. This is gonna be a great film because Danny Elfman scores in it. Now, don't get my meaning that not all films, are great when it comes to score, but the powerful themes in which Danny Elfman portrays in a lot of these films helps collaborate with the film you're watching, and it just blends so well. And you have to give Danny Elfman props, because he has inspired many orchestras all over the world to really embrace themselves and say, I'm good at an instrument, I'm good at piano, I'm good at the organ, I'm good at whatever, and find a group, and put that group together and create an orchestra event. And to me, that's just awesome, and that's what I find very intriguing when it comes to Danny Elfman. And so that is why he is part of Humanities Art. And well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you for watching. I'll see you on our part 10, and goodbye.